so happy and blessed that I make music with them now. But at the time, I remember having this whole thing where I was like, I don't know why everyone's on those dudes. Like I don't even, like, there's only one of them that rap, but they're like a collective. Like, I don't understand. Like, I think I took it personally because I think a lot of people were like, I think the city was hungering for a non-white or a non-brown MC. I think at the time, this is the way I took it. I don't know if you felt the same. We were the guys pushing at the time. And I think like one thing that propelled that movement was like, oh, it's a bunch of black dudes like in Redwood, like that's authentic. Like that seems like hip hop. These guys are like, there's an Italian dude and some like white guy that says he's Mexican that keeps putting a needle in his arm. So it was like I was like listening. And one thing I always say about Dash is he just really, really dances over the beat. Yeah. Just it's very rhythmic, and I think a lot of people, and I don't know, I'll let you speak on this, Zach. But I think a lot of people were trying to create something out of nothing with us because I immediately reached out to him. We'll talk about our neck of the woods really fast, but talk to me a little bit about like, did you feel like they're at least coming from their camp, from Crooked to us? Did you feel like they had an issue with us?
They had an issue with us, like.
Did they have an issue with the
actual Crooked Kings movement?
Yeah. Do you think they thought that hurtful?
The whole thing about that was that I heard J Dash was calling himself the king of Redwood City,
which we have called ourselves on occasion too.
Of course, yeah. and my whole thing was, to me, Juan Cano was one of the pioneers. He was the one from the old school still doing it. So you had people like Penn's One. You had people like Jayster, who's in and out of music still, and he's awesome. But as far as like consistency and like trying to keep it lit for the city, Juan Cano was like the old school dude that was still doing it.
Because he was older than me.
Well, he wasn't much older than me, but yeah. And he was kind of like you, like you're very involved in like the behind the scenes of music, where you can like, it's not just putting a CD out, it's like the marketing, it's like the strategy behind it, like the campaign, the flyers, the posters, like, you know what I mean? The connection is just like calling people and being on the phone like all the time, trying to like get out there and do shows.
It's just about music.
That was Juan Cano too. He had connections with like these radio stations, and we were just waiting to put out a solid project to get that out. So to me, if somebody came out calling themselves the king of Redwood City, but they weren't mentioning my dude, I took it some type of way, and that's where my thing was with them. And I didn't even know Dash.
And the other thing too is he probably didn't know anyone that knew one. So no, he didn't know. Yeah, age gap. But I can see where you did, because not to mention we all had chips on our shoulder at the time. For sure. If you ask me, like, I think the city is full of kings now. In retrospect, I call myself a king within the city. I call you a king. I believe Dash to be his king in his own way, but most definitely he's a king of Redwood City. But this is what, and I think Gino, to me, he's our King Von now. King Gino. That's why I called the song King Gino. He will forever be, and it's too bad we didn't get enough material from Juan. It's too bad we didn't get enough material from Gino. It's too bad I didn't get to do a song with Juan. It's too bad I couldn't do more with Gino. I'm blessed that we have these people here now that we can continue to work with. But one thing I will say is, like, when it comes to like work, I think of you as the king. When it comes to me at work, I think of me as the king. And you know what? Dash is still releasing stuff with that Crooked imprint, and they set a movement off. It was fire. Like people, like I heard songs and I was like, man, they're bringing this like East Coast swag to everything. I was like, but I was like, once again, I got another breath of life. I'm like, I gotta be better than this, like, and I think I stopped feeling that about you, because I think we were slowly starting to connect, and I want to go into that.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah, please. So, yes.
It's the first time I'm hearing it from your guys' perspective.
Yeah.
From our perspective, we were just in high school when Red Light Records came out, J Dash was coming out, and it was a splash. It made a lot of noise, and I feel like you got to remember, from our perspective, you two are the only faces we kind of knew at the time because the stickers, the flyers, the CDs. So if you're new and you're coming out and you want to go for the top spot, you got to go for you guys.
Yeah.
You got to go for your heads. So coming out and proclaiming yourself as the king, that's hip hop.
And that's hip hop. That's totally hip hop.
Of course, maybe he didn't know, how you took it, a certain way, but at the same time, it is a competition, and you always want to claim. I mean, if you're not claiming you're the best, then what are you doing in hip hop?
Yeah, right? For sure. I don't think anyone, honestly, I don't care if it's Jay-Z, Nas, whoever, if you put me in a room with them, I think I'm holding my own in any song with these guys, and I truly believe I could find things about what I did that I think were better than what they did. But yeah, man, I dug their swag, and and that they were a part, just like G1C was a part of this whole other faction that we'll just briefly talk about momentarily, because there was this head honcho thing, this alleyway thing, and then there was Chubby Greens. Mm-hmm. Now Chubby Greens was, from the best of my knowledge, the way I know they started, Ben was the brain behind it all started with silk screening, making these hoodies these G1C hoodies that everyone coveted so much, and everyone had them, right? And I had Jake and all these people that were connected. What I knew of Chubby Greens was a record company, a production company, show promoters. They had a huge influence. Jake was cool with Juan, right? Juan, so kind of gave him the blueprint on how to do the core. So shout out to Jake, shout out to Ben. If people don't know, Chubby Greens ended up evolving. Not necessarily Chubby Greens, but people from Chubby Greens ended up involving what's known as sticker farmers today. What started as No Famous for a while. Remember No Famous, the clothing? So Nachos and Crooked and Dash is a huge, I think he still has things that say Not Famous within his bio. So that was a huge movement. They continued on with the fashion, and then they went into, there was Hustle Heads. Was that Juan's thing? No, when you see a big head of Steph or whatever, that was a Redwood City thing. So when you watched the Warriors win a couple chips and you saw big heads of Draymond out there, they put them over there. That was us. That was our city there. But then somehow they got linked with sticker farmers, and now it's I think it's a nationwide company now.
They got them in different states.
Yeah, this is so they've done.
Promo was a thing because I think everyone from Redwood remembers the rap.
The rap Chubby Greens bus, yeah. Jake had the bus. I had many a chick I messed with on that bus that were we're going in Jake's bus and forget your little Accord. And they wore suits to the shows. I think you can speak to it, that the majority, and Dash can speak to it, and I can speak to it, that a lot of shows we opened up for Frontline, Mac Mall, Fizz, so many people, and it was all because of Jake, and same thing. When you look back on it then, we all were spiteful and little kind of a little not always the best with a little segregated. But now it's there's no need, you said, you talked to Malachi. There's no need to even talk about anything. It's just banded brothers that all want to do the same thing.
And I think the Chubby Greens movement was one thing that actually started bringing some of us together. Because they were so professional about the way they ran their business and their company, that they would throw these high-end shows at they were decent clubs. Tunes, they had a real good relationship with Tunes. Tunes was popping.
Shout out to Sounds 8 Tunes.
Some of those kind of spots, they had affiliations with the radio stations. Mm-hmm. They would do the KMEL shows, and they would put people on and give people chances to get on a bigger stage and open up for the names you said. I think I opened up for Keek the Sneak one time.
Yeah, I worked with Frontline,
sure.
EA Ski.
I was trying to remember. There's another couple names, but anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah. So shout out to Jake, dude. Shout out to Jake the Snake.
Jake, Ben,
Omar. Omar
was all part of that.
Oh, and I remember it was there was Chubby Greens the promotion, and there was Chubby Green the studio, the elitist. Only so many people were in the inner circle. We'd get on the shows, but because they would bring in Sugar Free, they brought Lazy Bone to the Bay. They brought so many features. You probably heard about this stuff, right? And it was people
would had a party with Silk the Shocker was there.
Oh, so and they were talking to people, and they were talking to people from Def Jam and all this stuff. Jake was a mastermind businessman. Like, and to have Omar, involved with them, and Ben involved with them, like Juan, Jake was the nucleus who spread out to all these other entrepreneurs that went on into the future to do other things. So shout out to Jake for sure. And I think I'd been at the studio like twice. And whenever I was there, it was that same Redwood thing that happened when I'd show up at your spot, or you'd come to my spot, or I'd go to see this. It was always that kind of like, this is what we got. Let me show you what we got. This is what we got. What do you got? Like it was always like we're doing this. Oh yeah, we just had Lazy here yesterday. It was like, or yeah, we're working with this, or I'm doing, I just got the song with Mac Dre, and I just got the song with Nicotina. So. But that drove us, and like so much came out of it,
That's my question. So
yeah.
you're saying that's kind of like the start of you guys unifying again, or it's kind of bringing down the walls a little bit. Mm-hmm. Is that what kind of led to the conversations of the compilation eventually?
Okay, so the compilation, this is such a great segue. I will say the first initial things, because I will say my neighborhood was here, Zak's neighborhood was here. There had been like little tiny things that have gone on between us, little words but always respected us on a street.
You fought the OG.
For sure. And the OG was gonna be here tonight too. He wanted to come and talk. And obviously you were right down the street. And I went to jail, and I'd never heard of Vera. When I came out, I was like, oh, there's homeboys on the west side now. And I was like, and they're like, yeah, they're called like SI Vera or something. And so all that being said, I think the first time, I'd been by the studio, but I feel like the first time when you really started to realize that it was music based, and I respected you from a business standpoint and a friend standpoint was starting to blossom, was when I got you the info for the cover. And I think you started to first see that thing where I'm like, I get really juiced about people, like when you guys come and you guys show me a beat, I'm like, put this out. You guys need to put this out. I did it for Hans. I did it for all. And you were like, think about doing this album, and I want to shoot at Sequoia. And I'm like, oh, like a baseball thing? And they turn like this? I got a guy for you. I got a guy to do the photography. And I know you know this. Yeah. And then somebody's like, oh, this, I know there's a million people in Redwood City that could tell me that they called me about this. How do I connect this piece of gear to this thing? Or like, how do I do this? And I'm like, let me tell you, because I always believed like, we're only going to be stronger if we all hook up. And I always felt when I first saw those flyers come out of Shortstop, I always felt some small semblance of pride of like, I helped my guy do that. And I was so happy that we could put whatever is little tiny petty squabbles and push forward. And then where we went from there was Omar was at the Annex in East Menlo Park, which was Los Tigres del Norte, to record all their music
Spice
there.
One,
Did Spice One, recorded his famous albums, Too Short was there. And Omar, that hustle, somehow talked his way into this place. We didn't pay any hourly rates, and we just were in this place. And I was like, I want to get everyone together. And this is such a great segue because we're gonna end on this note from our neck of the woods to how me and him got connected, and we'll end with the current compilations. Is I said, I think I can do this. I think enough of the people in the city, I think I got avenues to get to these people, and I think that they'll respect me enough to hear me out. And boy, was it a task, because whereas I think now in the age of Instagram, there was like a lot of like things are very ego, and people are very safe about putting their branding out because they're afraid they could get like, if I make music with you and you get washed somehow, I will eventually put a black eye on, or a black mark onto what I'm doing. Back then, it was nothing like that at all. It was just like, you're from that side, or you wear that color, or you do this, or you beat up my friend, or you pulled a gun out on my friend's mom. It's beef. Why would you be cool with me? And I started the best thing to come from it was the connection to Zak on an MC level and a friend for life level. But I felt so gratified because we had recorded this at different places. So because of the Omar thing that we talked about off camera and on camera, and people not wanting to work with him, certain tracks were recorded at the Annex. Certain tracks had to be recorded at my house. Every track that was recorded at my house was a very tense situation. Very tense. I I had, and I'm not going to mention names, but I had people bring guns to my house. I had people come and tell me they were going to kill my friends at my house, and we had to have conversations about that. You know, I had friends come in and almost literally when the door opened, or artists come in when the door opened, kind of do like this, you know, like to make sure. Dash and all them came by. It was a lot of like Seth. Oh, I was gonna say that's the banger. I was like, yeah. Seth came in and was like, "Where do I put that?" And I was like, "Okay." And I like handed it to my wife. I'm like, "All right, you put that over there. You come. We're gonna do a song together." And it was putting out these olive branches consistently and being like you're safe here. This is a place where you can create. I respect your artistry, and let's build something from this.
But it took some work, because you said
it took some work.
Hesitation.
There was a lot of hesitation, a lot of fear.
Some people thought they were being set up.
Yeah, some people thought they were being set up. Zach had a little issue with coming by a little bit. People loved the song California Time.
Yeah,
we got to find out what we could do together. I think he got to see how I worked in the studio. I got to see how he worked in the studio.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Working with Cricket and Dash, we Take It Back. One of my most streamed songs to this day is Take It Back. We got to learn about doubles, how people wrote. Seth came in. Seth was so professional. Like I so wish he could get back into rap. We could work with him. He came in and knocked it so fast, and I love that song. But Omar was on the other side of town doing his songs, pulling in people he knew. I think you guys came and recorded your stuff with me.
No, we did at the end.
Oh, you did at the end? Oh, sick! Yeah. You guys got to do it at the end. You guys must have thought you were like on freaking.
Bro, you gotta remember, we're super green. To this day, I still think we were just at the right place at the right time. Because you were looking for young acts too, not just the OGs, but some young guys, and we just happened to be around at the same time.
Yeah.
So you gave us the opportunity. You said, "We want you guys on here." And we were super geeked out about that. And walking into the end and seeing the plaque. Seeing the gold, they still had tapes, like golden tapes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so we knew there was some history made in that studio, but also we went from doing it in the sound booth in your place to the annex. So that was the first time we did a real studio.
That's cool. I think that's a bridge right there to what he's doing with the compilation now. Not to jump ahead too far.
No.
But just like he did back then for you guys, is what he's doing now for the
and I have the same sort of like guile and admiration when I've had people be dropped off at the studio by their moms. I've had people come from as far as Modesto that don't live in Redwood anymore. Young kids, 16, 17, going to high school, and I'm as pumped about meeting them as I was about meeting you guys. And it was a lot of fun making the album. Shout out to my boy Vicious, Pretty Vicious, not from Redwood City, but Redwood City adjacent. My boy's from Menlo Park, East Palo Alto, Eminem. And he's been a part of every one of these projects, and that was because of his affiliation to Omar and Chubby Greens and everything, and Malicious and Malachi, and we were able to work with so many good people, and I mean Andrew and No Expressions and Nick when they dropped the What's Kept. I had no idea some of these songs. Everyone had their own thing that they liked the most. I can talk to anybody about that, and that album will go down forever. I'm so glad it's on streaming. I have like one copy left. We pressed up like 4,000 copies, and I don't even know where they are anymore. But I really feel like our neck of the woods was an inspirer of a whole new generation of Redwood City MC, and so many people listened to it, and I still am able to reach out to people and have them say, "Oh, you're V-Boy from our neck of the woods? I grew up listening to that CD." And the little fun fact about that CD is the tree that's on the CD was an actual painting that somebody had painted for Omar, which either I had it for a while or he had it for a while. I don't know where it is now, but it got like water. It got like water damaged. Secondly, there was like. Can you think of the merch you had that you wish you still had? Weight out shirts, V-boy posters, flyers. People still hit me up on Instagram with pictures. Like, guess what I found? I was going through my old stuff. Yeah, you hit me one. Yeah, you did.
I got a poster somewhere.
So, dude,
I think it's like to R-Doe. From V-Boy, AWL.
WS.
Yeah, you know what I think is really dope about our neck of the woods is like nobody has the same favorite song.
Nobody
if you talk
has
to anybody, like anybody that was around during that time and they heard that compilation,
So true.
everybody's gonna tell you like, I like this song the best. I like this song. It's never the same song twice.
I
never
cannot
hear
think of a collective
you know what I
one
mean?
where they
It's
go, that was
crazy.
the best song on
Yeah.
the album.
And it might be because of the affiliations. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
I
the
knew this
affiliations
person
too.
better,
I think a lot of
but-
people didn't listen to certain songs. I also feel like it was some stuff. Oh, you know what though? I will say one that I think a lot of people was Hold Me Down, just because we talked about every neighborhood. But you're right. California Time gets a lot of love. What's Kept gets a lot of love. Oh, I've had people talk
Specs
about the
joint.
Specs joint.
Yeah,
I've had
Specs
people say
joint.
the Specs song was their favorite
The
song.
Seth joint.
The Seth joint,
Seth
yeah,
joint.
because the Metallica sample.
Dumb 200.
Of course, Dumb 200 for
Yeah.
sure. Shout out to Studio P. You were able to mention JB. I didn't get to mention some of my like rap brothers that were non-Redwood City, but Studio Pete, Privileged P, Nocturnal Hustlers. I have made so many friends from hip hop that don't live in Red.
Shiesty.
Comedy, Shiesty. I can go on for days, like people that are my actual friends. But so I think Our Neck of the Woods was a launch pad for you. You went to New York after things like this. You connected with the core media. You released 1,000,000,001 projects. You were like for me when I watched you, because I think after Our Neck of the Woods, I immediately kind of retired. I like stepped back, was like, I'm gonna just be a dad, and you just took everything and just ran with it. Like you connected with so many features, so many mixtapes, shows. I was your hype man at the time. I remember I'd come back and just hype for you. Like I didn't even want to. I was just juiced about coming in like seeing you run. And I think I started working with like Savzilla, and I was doing the Street Sav thing, but mostly I was just supporting you, and that leads me quickly to the first time you resuscitated me was when you asked me to help you put out a solo album that became our
I
album.
wanted you to executive produce a solo album for me.
Yeah.
It turned into B-Boys and D-Boys.
Yeah, which I feel like was another moment in time classic album
For sure.
that gets a lot of respect, because I think I can say for myself, it was the first time I came out with an album that I said, this sounds very professional.
Mhm.
It was the first time that I heard something that said, this sounds like something that like literally like came from a major label.
Dude, we really like, that was a great project, because I remember you got all the beats. You went to like the dopest producer, like dudes out of, like,
So
Germany.
Freak works with Tech Nine now.
Right.
Some of these guys work with major artists now. Like it's amazing to think that like I was just
And we only had like
typing on a chat board with somebody.
It was mostly like in-house features. Like we didn't have anybody. We didn't feel like we needed to at that point. Like go out and get like a big name feature. Like we got M-Dot, we got Savzilla. Who else do we have? Leon. rest in
Leon,
peace.
well, that's what I was gonna say. Was I think the thing that set it apart was not just production. It was the first time we started to get real singers with actual vocal acumen, like really good singers, and they made really
Michelle was on that.
Michelle was on it. Shout to Michelle.
JC
Michelle
was
Malchow.
on that.
JC was on it.
420 Ways.
Yeah. 420 Ways.
They love
is
that
still
in New
one of-
York,
They
man.
love that song. We toured with that for a while,
Yeah.
and that got me heavy. I got into doing like the side project with the Go Getters with Grump and you guys, do you know Grump?
Yeah.
So got Grump and Dog, and I think I started to get crazy about the art again, and then I stopped again, and then you kept going. This is why you're so consistent. I stopped again, and talk to me a little bit. Okay, so because we got some things we got to do, but talk to me a little bit about COVID and the next time you resuscitated my career again, and how that conversation. Do you remember?
PI?
We're PU.
PU, sorry.
PU. Parallel
Shout out
Universe.
PI. I was thinking.
Yeah,
about
shout out PI. He's supposed to be here
Penny.
today. We love you, bro.
Yeah.
Six Filthy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how did, I know you had COVID during that album.
I had COVID in the writing process.
Right.
You called me, and you were saved at the time. You already started your journey with Christ, and you called me, and you said, we should make music again, because we're all just sitting in the house. And I said, nah, I'm not gonna make music anymore. I go, I'm not active like that. I don't live like that. Like, I can't talk to you. You go, why do you gotta talk about that stuff? Like, can't talk about. I go, positive hip hop sucks. I don't really like positive hip hop. And I was like, you were like, God, could you just humor me and write me a couple verses and like just to and first of all, I haven't told you enough how much I appreciate you, because my body of work since PU is it's everything that I've ever wanted in my art to be able to show. Professional, good beats, good lyrics, direct song, the path. And it was all because of this conversation when I'm sitting in my son's room laying down going, I have to, hip hop is about keeping it real, and I have to keep it real, and I don't live like that anymore. And you were like, why can't we, and you set some structure, I think I embellished on it more, but you were like, let's not talk about guns, let's not talk about gangs, let's not talk about, let's keep it hood, let's keep it street, let's not come from a standpoint of glorification. That's all. I don't think that's gonna rock with people. I don't think people are gonna like it. And I was like, and it became I don't know if you remember this, but I wrote a couple verses that didn't make it on the album that I spit to you, and you're like, I hear what you're doing, V, but like a lot of it's still very, and you still drive me with like, when you're like, some of it's braggadocious, like pull back from that, like, stop being, that comes from your belief in God, and like, don't have such an ego, don't be about you. And exactly. And you like, and I know that sometimes creeps into my music still, because sometimes the kid wants to be punk rock again, and I try to match the vibe of some people I work with, but ultimately you started to help me find this path as I wrote something that I was proud about. And there's this whole thing now that I live by. It's like, I want to make hip hop that I could play to my mother-in-law. I want to make hip hop I could play to my grandma, or or whatever. But but at the same token, I want to go to like 2-1 Nightingale and play to some kid out there in Stockton and have him go, all right, this is, I don't rock with this because I want to hear a little bit more boom boom in my music, but it's hip hop. I mess with it, like it's close to it. So I was like, so we're finding beats from these youthful avenues, and we're doing it our way, and we're doing it without any malice, in our music.
And Tizoc, I think you could relate to this. I'm not sure if you got kids.
Yeah, I want.
So I think having kids is a big part of it. It's just like you start to see things differently, where you're like, I got these young ones that are in the car with me, and I'm playing my music, and I'm talking about bitch, crack, and I'm like, I can't play this for my daughters. I don't want my son growing up treating girls bad. So it's like, it gets to a point where you're like, and I look at you the same way. I'm like, make some stuff that your kids can listen to for the rest of their lives, not just when they're young, but like they can look back at it and be like, man, that was my dad. He's dope, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he wasn't talking about killing people all the time, like, you know what I mean? So, and with my brother passing too, that's another thing. His son is like his biggest fan, and I'm digging deep to try and find his son like positive songs, and my brother didn't have too many like that because he was just so deep in the street life. But there was the one song that we did not swear on. I think it might be one of the only songs my brother did not swear on and did not say anything crazy besides a little bit from his past, but it's like one of the dopest songs we ever did, and that's Broken Record. That song is just, to this day, it gives me tears to listen to that song, bro. Even when my brother was still here, like before he even died, when I listened to that song, I'm like, dude, that's deep.
You might be hearing a remix coming soon. So I was gonna say that journey, Parallel Universe, meant everything to me. I found a new avenue in artistry, and I've been going ever since. And I feel like it's helped you also continue to go. I continue to make music for Redwood City. I'm telling you, because we're at 9:08, we gotta get out at 9:30, so we gotta try to shoot this video. But I'm just so basically, the new compilations today that we're doing, I'm continuing this passion. I don't know where this is going to take us. I know that I'm motivated by you every day. I know that I'm motivated by the fact that when I was watching that thing at Ralphie's house, and they were talking about River City hip hop, and they mentioned you, and then they said my name, and we're like, who? I was like, I gotta get back into this, man. Like, so I'm happy I'm here, dude. I'm happy I'm here. I'm happy I'm surrounded by brothers. I don't care if it's Double O, if it's Cisco, if it's every single artist, Kwan, Boja. I'm so blessed to be continuing to make music in a positive way and not have it be like regressive music that's gonna teach another generation how to live the life or emulate what we did. it's just good music, man. I'm happy we make it, and I hope that we'll have a chance to do another PU album.
Sure.
And that's basically the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to say something real quick about you, and that's that even when you were running the streets and you were doing music for the streets, there was always this side of you that was always trying to do it for something good, and that was like your boys at the time, or that was like, you know what I mean, to get something for your family, or whatever the motivation was. It always was something coming from a good place, no matter what kind of bad stuff you might have been doing. And I respect that, and I want to give you your flowers for that.
Thanks,
like,
Doug.
you always try to put people on, no matter where you're at, no matter how much your ego wants to take the fast lane ahead of everybody else. There's always that side of you that wants to see other people succeed, and that's like this compilation is. I mean, how many volumes you got? That's a testament to that.
Yeah,
You know
and it's funny because I thought I was just going to do one. I thought I want to make another Our Neck of the Woods, and then turned into like a bunch because more people keep knocking on doors and it keeps inspiring more. And I know we've had conversations about like, you know, hey Vince, you know, I just want to see you do stuff that you'll get your flowers for and gratification for. Like if you keep doing this and nobody respects you, and it's like I keep pushing, and it meant the world to me to hear you a few times go, man, what you're doing with these compilations is really good. So that means a lot to me, and I hope it's like, okay, and I'll last analogy, and we'll shoot this video. I'm just gonna say it has nothing to do. Hey, Dose, you can cut us off.